Hi friends, welcome back to the channel in another video. I'm Dr. Caroline, a practicing board-certified family medicine physician, and today I want to do a sort of day in the life of a primary care physician type of video. Now this is a retrospective days in the life, or months in the life rather, because I'm going to be sharing some of my experiences, or really some of the struggles I had gone through as an attending primary care physician for a period of time. So this is not the current situation. I actually teach primary care physicians now on how to find work-life balance by maximizing productivity at work and how to scale their income in the process. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, then definitely check out the link below to our RVU consulting program. So I never had these struggles as a medical student or resident. I did really well. I was a chief resident and it was good fun. So I kind of expected being an attending physician to be the same way, so smooth sailing, so to say. And it was initially, but that was not the case for a period of time because I fell into burnout, and that completely caught me off guard. So the burnout occurred about a year and a half into being an attending physician, and this was a 6-month problem. And like I said, it caught me off guard because I did not expect something like that to happen to me. Now, I'm nothing special. I'm not immune to anything. The reason I say I didn't expect it to happen to me is just because I'm a hard worker, I'm a high performer, and I used to thrive in that. I used to get a massive boost of energy from working extremely hard. And now hearing myself say all of this, I'm like, burnout was probably bound to happen. My burnout was brought on by several different factors, and the 3 major factors are the ones I want to talk about today, and those include seeing too many patients, being a super doctor, and not being well compensated. I'm obviously going to go through all of those in a bit, but one thing I want to point out is the things that I share in this video and every single video in my channel are based solely on my experience alone. And so this is just based on my experience and what I felt were the issues in my struggles. So the first major factor that brought on my burnout was seeing too many patients. So when I started out as an attending physician, obviously I had to build up my patient panel. So initially my patient volume was low, but it slowly grew. And over time, I got to a point where I was itching very close to seeing 30 patients a day. I thought that part of being a hardworking physician was seeing a lot of patients. And it's also one of the advice I received from some of my colleagues that seeing a lot of patients would help to maximize my revenue over time. And because I didn't know any other way, I didn't know any other strategies to help me maximize my revenue, I was seeing a lot of patients. And eventually this got very exhausting and I fell into burnout. The second factor that brought on burnout for me was being a super doctor. So essentially being a perfectionist. So as a primary care physician, in addition to seeing patients and completing chart notes, there's always a million and one tasks that you also have to manage to complete in your workday. And so I used to be the type that I wanted to complete everything, every task before I left the clinic on a particular workday. I wanted to show that I was a hardworking doctor. And so I was leaving the clinic around 7 or 8 p.m. nearly every workday. I was the last one out of the clinic every single time, and I used to think this was a good thing, like I'm working the longest, so it must mean I'm working the hardest. But clearly I was wrong, and that got old and very exhausting, and again, I fell into burnout. The third factor that brought on my burnout was not being well compensated. Now, this wasn't a direct cause of my burnout, but it was kind of like a cherry on top type of thing, like beating someone when they're already down kind of thing. Because I knew that I worked hard, I always had a lot of questions about my compensation. When I look at my salary, I always had questions as to why my salary was not higher than what it was at that time. I felt that I was not well compensated for the level of work I was putting in and that I should be getting paid more. And that kind of ate at me during those months, I'm not gonna lie. I felt that if I was just doing the bare minimum, sure, a lower compensation makes sense. But I'm putting in work, I'm putting in a lot of effort, and so I felt that I deserved more. Now, it's not that my employer was underpaying me, but my issue was that I didn't even know how my compensation was generated at that time. I work in an RVU-based model, a productivity type model, and I didn't even know what that meant back then or how RVUs affect my salary. And so because I didn't know these things, I was obviously not tapping into the potential to be able to make more. I was just stuck on the patient volume is everything boat, which sank quickly. And so to top off everything else that had led to my burnout, my productivity and compensation also sank. It was rough. I doubted my career and myself even, and if I was right for this type of work, which was such a strange feeling because medicine was all I knew. I often asked myself what was the point of continuing in this career if this is how I was going to feel for the rest of my career. I thought about so many different possible changes to make, like transitioning to a non-clinical position or changing careers altogether. Anything to escape the burnout. Like I said, the burnout lasted for about 6 months' time, and eventually I decided to stay at my position. But this decision came with some conditions. Things had to change if I was going to continue to practice. Because it wasn't the job itself that was bad, but it was how I approached it, how I managed my day to day, and how all of that had made me feel that brought me down. And so a lot of things had to change in order for me to not quit medicine. So next week's video is going to be on that topic, how I've been able to find this work-life balance. So do keep your eye out for that. Alright friends, I hope this video was interesting to you, and if you're going through something similar or have gone through something similar, you're not alone. And I'm wishing all of you the absolute best in your career. employers. Do make sure to subscribe, as I do post a video like this every single week, sharing my experiences and doing my best to help primary care physicians maximize productivity and scale their income without overworking or burning out. Don't forget to check out the link below to our RVU consulting program, where we teach primary care physicians the practical strategies to truly maximize productivity and scale their income without the risk of falling into burnout. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and share this video with your colleagues. I'll see you next time.